I would bet that if you ask men and women who they want next to them when they're out in the field, facing bullets, I would say that they want the best people. They want the best person to be behind them, and that's not gender, that's not male or female, that's the best people out there.
Female soldiers have long said they can carry the weight as well as any man, and they deserve to be accorded membership in the most elite armed forces. Today, the Army Rangers will graduate into their ranks the first 2 women who passed the grueling training course just like every other guy. This as the Navy announces they will open the vaunted SEAL teams to any woman who can pass the course. But it still is going to beg the question from many. Is this necessary or is this political correctness? You know it's still here. Those who know about rigorous military training and what it takes to be in the field, let's get to it. Welcome back former CIA Intel Officer Lisa Ruth, joined by former Army helicopter pilot and senior military advisor at Concerned Veterans for America, Amber Smith. Ladies, I want to thank you both for being here very much because I started out by using that dreaded 2 letters, PC. Amber, you know that no matter how many times this story goes down, you know that no matter how many people read about what these women went through, there are those who are going to say this is strict political correctness and women don't belong on the same field as men. I know that's going to anger you, but how do you fight that?
Look, I think that the Department of Defense has to be very clear that there needs to be a mission standard and not a gender standard. We need to make sure that we maintain the most elite and lethal fighting force in the world, and you do so not by establishing quotas, not by being politically correct, but by making sure the best people are there to do the job, regardless if you're a man or a woman.
But here it comes, Amber. There are going to be people who will say, you're women. Doesn't make a difference how good you are. You can't lift the same shells. You can't lift the same weight. You don't have the same endurance as men. Now, I'm not trying to be insulting here, but you know as well as I do that that's going to fire back from this. So what about those who consistently will throw that at you?
Well, there's obviously a large physical component to serving in combat and making it through those very challenging schools, but there's also a mental component that requires incredibly strong mental strength. And I think we saw that just with the 2 females that made it through, made history when they made it through Ranger School this week. So I think it just depends. The Army has a saying that when you go through early training in basic training, they say you're a soldier. You're not a male soldier. You're not a female soldier. You're a soldier. And I think as long as they can keep those quotas out of there, maintain the exact same physical, mental, emotional, standards that. Hopefully they can keep the PC side of things out of it.
There you go. Now, Lisa, there's a couple of words in there that Amber noted. She used the word mental in there. She used the word emotional in there. I also can think of elite and lethal in there as well. So you put all these things together here. What we're talking about is a soldier who can do the job, who can think their way through the job, who can be elite, who can be lethal. Yeah, Lisa, it can be done, but people are still going to hammer away and say that women can't do it. That's the downside.
Well, sure, you're always going to have doubters. You're always going to have those kind of people. You know, my experience, and I'm guessing Amber had the same sort of thing, in the field, what you find is that your colleagues, in general, and there's always going to be some, but most people will respect you for going through the training. These 2 women who finished Ranger School are going to be looked at as soldiers. They're people who completed training, who were, as you said, lethal, elite, fighters, soldiers. They are mentally tough. They pass.
But they're not going to put them in the field, though, Lisa.
Okay, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. And you want my opinion on that? I absolutely think that we should be there. I think it's not about women. And Amber, you said it brilliantly. It's not about quotas. It's about who is the best person for the job. I mean, come on. We've got this everywhere else. When I was in the CIA, as you know, Ed, there was a lot of people. There even were a lot of people who were against it. But when you're in the field and you're doing the job, you win respect by what you do. And the people I worked with were far less concerned about whether I wore a skirt or not, or whether I could deliver. And that's really the bottom line here. These are people who have earned the right to be here. People, not women and not men. They're people who've earned the right to be there.
I only got about a minute left to both of you. First to you, Lisa. I'll stay with you 30 seconds on this. Let me make it simple. When you're looking through the sights and when you got the bad guy or the bad girl sitting in the end there and you pull the trigger and you blow their brains out, that's what you're sometimes asked to do. That's what a soldier is asked to do, and it doesn't take to be male or female to be able to have the guts to do it.
And yes, you're exactly right, and you just said it right. It really doesn't matter male or female, it's the soldier.
And Amber, same thing to you. Women can bring a dimension to intel that men sometimes simply can't. I mean, isn't that fair to say?
Well, I don't know about I think that in the post 9/11 wars, we've seen the tremendous success that women have had since they have been given the opportunity to serve in some of those positions. And I think if they are allowed to try, not a guarantee just because we're opening these doors that you're going to have a slot, but you should be allowed to try out for some of those elite units. And if you make it to those exact same standards and as the men, and if you're what they're looking for, then you can be accepted. But no special treatment, no special favors.
No special treatment, no special favors. You try, and if you make it just like everybody else, the same thing. It's defending America, no matter how you look at it. Amber Smith, Lisa Ruth, ladies, a pleasure to have you both on the show. Thanks so much. Let's keep pushing this forward. Stay with us because we will continue right here on the fastest 60 minutes in news, The Hardline.